I call the Honourable Member Tracy Martin.
Kia ora, Mr Chair. So, on behalf of New Zealand First, I stand to oppose this bill. Originally, at first reading, New Zealand First reserved its judgment predominantly to make sure that we heard the arguments at Select Committee, and so we supported the bill through its first reading. Since then, it has become incredibly obvious that this is predominantly a bill that says, trust us. Trust us, New Zealand. Give us all these powers. We won't necessarily use them, but trust us. And I think we've seen even just today that there are some standards that this government has that need to be questioned. So, trust us is not good enough, unfortunately, for New Zealand First. We recognise that the bill basically deals in two parts. One is around the interception and the other is around network security. Network security aspects of the bill are largely technical in nature, and they deal with how the telecommunications sector and companies operating inside that sector will operate in relation to interception warrants. These technical aspects relate to the operation of networks, and we've just heard how wide that description is currently, and the examination and collection of information and data both through and from various network devices. These areas are particularly areas that are subject to rapid technological change. The nature of individual and commercial use of networks and of network devices is also changing at an incredibly rapid pace. And it is through this usage that, by the very nature of its usefulness, this makes companies as well as government agencies vulnerable to exploitation. Essential services, both public and private, may be subject to eavesdropping and cyber attacks, with the potential for intellectual property to be usurped and the possibility that essential services to individuals and companies may be compromised. New Zealanders deserve and expect to be protected from such potential threats, and as such it is necessary to have legislation governing the interception of electronic communications. And it is necessary to update them as required as the terrain of as the cyber environment evolves. But New Zealand also deserves and expects that their government will appropriately balance these protections of security with protections around their rights, their freedoms and civil liberties. And having recently just come back from a democracy that is only 2.5 years old, that over a 20-year period prior to that lost all its abilities to, all its citizens' abilities to their freedoms and their rights, we need to not take this flippantly. New Zealanders do need to continue to maintain a vigilance around legislation such as this, where a government just says, trust us. We're in a good place. We're a good people in a good democracy. 150 years unbroken democracy in this country. We do it well. But we still must be aware of what I refer to as the invisible man theory. And that is when there is not enough oversight, when there is nobody watching the watchers, when there is nobody checking on the warrants and those that have the powers that are at arm's length and removed from the powers that be, then there is the possibility that things will not go well in the future. And herein lies New Zealand's first problem, which is why we will oppose the bill. We will support Claire Curran's supplementary order paper, because we see there that, particularly with the new insertion into Clause 2 around an independent review of New Zealand security agencies, that this in itself, we would hope, would make sure that the New Zealand public, and therefore the New Zealand First Party, could have confidence that their overview is appropriately there, the independent overview is there, that the government, a change of government, given the same powers, they may not be the lovely, nice people that currently sit on the government benches. They may be people that use these powers in another way that are not to the benefit of their people. And it is necessary, therefore, for the New Zealand people to constantly have the ability to be confident that there is an oversight and that their government is looking out for their welfare. It is also of interest to us that 4 of the largest internet providers of content and email, Google, Yahoo, Microsoft and Facebook, gave advice to the Select Committee that this legislation would create legal conflicts with other countries, and that the law is out of alignment with approaches taken by the UK, Canada, the United States and Australia, the Five Eyes arrangement that we are part of. The Minister rejected those comments. The Manager...
I call the Honourable Trevor Mallett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the first point I want to make is